And we've seen some of the Middlesbrough's attacking players have moments of quality, and no one's really fully hit their stride yet. But we've seen with Nipan, we've seen moments where he's shown his quality. We've seen from Hansen moments where he's provided what he needs to do as well. But one player who has sort of flattered to deceive when he has been on the pitch has been Morgan Whittaker. Now, of course, there was the situation against Preston where he was sort of ironically cheered by fans when he was brought off, and then Rob Edwards defended him, and he's had another couple of opportunities in the team, but we just haven't really seen the best from him this season, or really since he's arrived. So what's been your take on Morgan Whittaker, Craig, and what do you think, I guess, how likely is he to force his way back into Rob Edwards' plans, given how poor he's kind of been so far this season?
Yeah, I think it'll definitely stay in the plans. I think then it's ultimately up to him and how he approaches it. I think in some respects he's been a bit of a victim of circumstance. Since arriving at Boro, he came and it was a big money signing, really. I think it was the same price, just a little bit less than Strelec. And we talked about how, Strelec this summer was the marquee signing. So I think that, when you think of it that way, then realistically so was Whittaker, and obviously Whittaker had done it before in the Championship. He got 20 goals for a poor Plymouth side a couple of years back, so there's definitely a player in there, but I think it's just finding the way to get that back out of him. I think confidence is clearly an issue now. That he's clearly had a hit to the confidence, but yeah, definitely a victim of circumstance. You think when he first arrived at Boro, it was a team at that time struggling for form under Michael Carrick, and then they lost Ben Doak to injury. Emmanuel Latilaf went to Atlanta, and that stripped Boro of all the pace. They lost all the pace in the attack, but there wasn't any signs from Michael Carrick that they were going to change anything in how they approached it. And that meant, Boro's attack effectively become completely ineffective. They didn't have the pace, and Whittaker as the kind of new player who was meant to make a big impact, was meant to, kind of do something effectively. He couldn't, because he was part of an attack that just wasn't functioning well. This summer, Rob Edwards comes in, completely changed the tactics, and he's been asked to play a completely different role, which, if I'm honest, I'm not sure it complements what Whittaker is particularly good at. He likes players around him. He likes to use kind of dummy runs, if you like, to come inside and have an acre of space and get a shot off. But ultimately, it's up to him now. This is how Rob Edwards wants to play, and unless it changes, then Whittaker's got to find a way within himself to make himself effective within this tactical system, within this way of playing. There's clearly ability there. He's kind of had moments this season, be it his set pieces have been really effective and helpful for Boro at times, and there have been moments where he has been involved in big goals. But he's got to find a way to do that more consistently and have that end product. It's going to be difficult for him. Obviously, I think the more these new players like Hansen and Sen and Strelec get up to speed, obviously competition for places is going to be tough, but the onus is ultimately on him to find a way to make sure he can, make an impact in games, whether it's coming off the bench or what, within the way that Rob Edwards wants to play.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you just sort of feel with Morgan Whittaker that he's a player who just needs a goal, doesn't he? He just yeah. Like you said there about his confidence, and you just feel like he needs to cut inside on his left foot, and for one of these shots to just find the bottom corner or find the top corner or whatever it sort of is, just find the back of the net, and you can just see it sort of like building up his confidence again and going, oh, that's what it's like to score, and then you could see him going on a bit of a run after that, couldn't you?
Yeah, you'd like to think so, because I mean, as we say, he had that season at Plymouth where he scored 20, and then I think he'd only scored, was it 4 or 5 goals last season before he joined Boro, but one of them was against Liverpool in the FA Cup. He scored the goal which Plymouth beat Liverpool in the FA Cup with, and it was that goal time. So many of them 20 goals he scored in that season for Plymouth, and then that Liverpool goal I'm talking about, it was coming in from the right on his left foot, smashing the ball into the bottom corner. And it's all well and good, Championship defenders know you're going to do that, But why it was so good, why it was so effective, was he had the players around him who were making the runs, taking defenders away, opening up that space for him, which he doesn't really have at Boro because of the the way they have their attack. But even in the odd time when he has got into those positions and he has been able to, whip in them left-footed shots as he's coming in from the right, he's just lacked conviction. The finish has always been lacking. He's never really looked like doing that in a Boro shirt. He's never looked convincing that one of those, left-footed strikes is going to hit the back of the net. And as you say, I think that is a confidence issue, and you'd like to think it. Just one of them comes off, suddenly it could click and he could be flying, and his mood could completely change. But you could definitely see in his confidence there with the fact that even the odd time he does get into those opportunities, he's just those shots are not the shots that we were seeing him have at Plymouth. That kind of clinical killer touch, it just isn't there from him at the moment.